Josh Stevens.
MZ, Michael Zwerling.
Happy New Year. May I ask you a personal question?
Fire away.
Where did this rain come from? It wasn't forecast.
I know, right?
What's going on here?
I don't know. I mean, maybe the weather people got it wrong, but will they be held accountable? Nope.
Well, I think we should start a New Year's resolution to hold weathercasters accountable for everything.
Uh-oh, my job's on the line.
And if they don't, well, you just read what you see, right? So
Yeah.
Your job isn't on the line. But their job is on the line.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you think that's a good idea?
Yes, absolutely. All the way, including the AccuWeather ones, all the for-profit weather companies, hold them especially accountable.
Right. But no one knows where this came from, right? I mean, it's just, well, it came from the sky. Dave Michaels.
Good morning, MZ.
How are you feeling today?
I am feeling fantastic.
Do you think 2021 is going to be a good year? Nowhere to go but up, right?
Sure, yeah, it'll be a good year.
Some people say I shouldn't say that because there was nothing wrong with 2020.
Nothing, not at all.
Well, 2020 wasn't the best year, but, you know, it's all about perspective, right?
Yeah.
Where you were. Hopefully everyone out there is safe and they're healthy. Their loved ones stayed healthy. I know some people got sick and others, unfortunately, got more than sick. But the only thing you can do, MC, is to take care of your health. That's the best thing you can do to make sure that...
Such a pro, the way you segue into what you're going to say next. It's just amazing.
Just to make sure that this year it turns out better than last year, you need to stay healthy. That's number one. We want to make sure that our loved ones stay healthy, right? Make sure it's a good year. So be sure to boost your immune system with whatever it takes. Vitamins and minerals is our suggestion, and we have the best out in the Dave Cave, the best the money can buy.
We sure do.
Cave. These are plant-derived colloidal minerals, so they're not something dug out of the dirt. They're not imported from China. They're dug up right here in America. It's all colloidal, so you can absorb it better. It's great stuff.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. And so you have, do you have plenty of product at the Dave Cave today?
I have plenty of Tangy Tangerine, Glucogel, and other things like that.
So the main selling products, right?
Yeah, we got the main ones there, yes.
Yeah.
Our next shipment should be in soon, but right now we still have some of the main
should be
sellers.
by midweek, I think.
Good.
We get a shipment with a whole lot of other stuff that you put on the list.
Good.
Good. Okay.
Oh, and then MZ, also I want to remind people that if you cannot make it down to the Dave Cave, you can always go to kscohealth.com and place your order there. It'll get delivered to your house, usually within 5 to 7 business days. Delivered to your house. You don't have to run down to the Dave Cave. You don't have to worry about cash or check. You can use your credit card. Go to kscohealth.com. Use your credit card. Get it delivered to your house within 5 to 7 business days usually even faster than that. Whatever it is that you want, you can go on there, you can log on there, you can order your collagen peptides, your glucogel, Arthrodex.
How are the collagen peptides? I like the flavored ones.
Mm-hmm.
Do you
the collagen peptides sold out, as a matter of fact.
Is that right?
They sold out. Now, I don't know if you have had the flavored one. You notice when you mix it, how it just gets real sticky. It has a real gelatinous, cartilaginous feel to it, like you're drinking liquid cartilage. It's fantastic.
I just love liquid cartilage. Don't
That sounded
you?
kind of gross, right? Well, the point is, MZ, that it's really good for you, and that too is designed to be ultra absorbable. So there you go. Make sure you take care of your health. Your bones and your joints are part of that. I'm out at the Dave Cave every Saturday from 10 till 2, MZ.
That's fantastic. And you might come back with a update later.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
And so, so come on down today. Dave doesn't bite. He's a very nice man. He's even nicer in person than he is on the radio, if you can believe that.
If you have any questions, give me a call at 218-KSCO. 831-218-KSCO. To place your order online, go to kscohealth.com.
Right. So what I had planned to do today, and I still plan to do this, is check in with various talk, not all of them, we couldn't possibly do all of them on a 2-hour program. But I want to check in with some of our talk show hosts on KSCO during the next couple of hours and get their perspective on, the year that passed and the year that's coming and what else to do on
Are
the
you
day
gonna call
after
them?
New Year's.
Are you going to call them?
Maybe that if they call in 479-1080, we'll know they're there. And otherwise, if it's someone that we definitely want to talk to, you know, then we'll call out to them because we have their secret numbers.
Yeah. Even if they're all hungover, we'll still call them up.
The worst that can happen is that we don't reach them.
Right.
Right? But so that's what I was saying would be a fun thing to do today. Otherwise, if anybody has a better idea, 479-1080. But one of the best programs that we have on KSCO is the Michael Harrison Rap that comes on Fridays, 6 to 7 p.m. And I listened to the one that aired yesterday. I actually wasn't able to listen when it went out live, but I listened later, you know, early this morning. What an amazing show that is.
Yeah. He gets some great guests.
Yeah, and so I couldn't think of a better way to do, and this would also do a little cross-pollinization. Is it pollination or pollinization?
Pollination.
Okay. Of that show, because I think there are people who listen to the Saturday special who might not be aware of the Michael Harrison Rap. And you're missing a great show, whether or not, and we don't let people know this enough. We need to let everybody know that every program on KSCO that we produce or are tightly connected to, if we don't produce it, like Michael Harrison's Rap, is available on demand. You don't have to be listening when we broadcast it, because we have zbsradio.com and we have the KSCO app and we have KSCO.com. And so what I think would make the most sense is to take the next 15 minutes or so to play the first that many minutes of yesterday's Michael Harrison Rap show. Then we'll open it up to discussions with other hosts and open the lines up for people to have open lines.
Okay. Are you feeling optimistic about 2021?
Sure. Yeah. And I shouldn't. Here's a singe of negativity. Okay. I say there's nowhere to go but up. But people say I shouldn't say that because it wasn't. It was a bad year for sure.
Sure.
No, who would disagree with that? But it could have been worse.
Yes.
It really could have been a whole lot worse. And I like to be a half full person.
Where people say you shouldn't say that. If somebody tells you that, without knowing them, I'd say they're a negative Nancy.
Yeah.
They're a downtown. What's that? They're from Downerville?
Yeah, Downerville.
They're from Downerville.
Yeah. Our good friend Wendell from Reno coined that expression.
Anybody who would say you shouldn't be optimistic and you shouldn't say that, they just need to they need to check themselves out. They're probably miserable people.
You shouldn't say that. You shouldn't.
Why not?
Shouldn't say negative things. Because people are sort of down enough already without taking
negative.
them further down.
Saying things are going to get better, that's not negative at all.
There's nowhere to go but up. Yeah, that is sort of positive. It's not negative.
Positive. Yes.
Okay, good.
It's absolutely positive. And
I take it back.
And people who say you shouldn't say that, they are stuck in Downerville. They're down in the dumps, and I suspect that they probably live their lives that way, and they're miserable people. That's what I would suspect. No matter where you go, let's say you're climbing down a pit to hell. No matter where you go, there's always up, and you can always go. It can always get worse. It could always be worse, but we're not focusing on that. We're focusing on working our way up. And if they don't get that, MZ, I'd say that you just stop hanging out with that guy, whoever it is.
Hey, what's going on? What's on the computer here?
The impeachment of Donald Trump.
Oh, I know what that is. I know what that is. That's the beginning of the rap. But we shouldn't play that. We shouldn't play that before we play this.
Good morning. A brighter day is here. Good morning. May we bring you cheer.
We've got time, we've got tunes, we've got time, tunes, and temperature.
Get up and go, it's today, you know, on KSCO Radio.
He's trying to get his headphones on.
I know exactly what you're thinking. You're thinking that I'm a lazy host and that I'm looking for any excuse to not have to work today. That's why I'm going to play the first 15 minutes of yesterday's Michael Harrison's rap. See? Isn't that exactly what you were thinking, Josh Stevens?
Exactly.
And all the listeners, too. Well, that's true.
Good morning. Now stay right here on KSCO Radio.
Okay, so here, we have to play this here. I want to make sure that it plays properly.
Recording devices, sharing their observations and the feelings of their target constituents with whom they do their daily dance of affirmation. All part of the increasingly noisy world in which we try to avoid the modern-day syndrome of seeking victory at the expense of truth. Welcome to part 2 of our special year-end installment of the Michael Harrison Rap, an examination of 2020's hottest political and social topics discussed in the American talk media. Information's gathered from a variety of sources, including data tracked by the broadcasting trade publication Talkers Magazine, of which I'm editor and publisher. Okay, let's rock. Joining us now is Kevin Casey, executive editor of Talkers Magazine. Kevin, give us a rundown of the 10 most talked about stories on talk shows in America during the astonishingly historic year of 2020.
Thank you, Michael. At number 10, climate change, severe weather, numerous hurricanes, and wildfires. We saw a record number of hurricanes and other categories of so-called named storms in 2020, which, in addition to the outbreak of historically horrendous wildfires that took lives and properties, prompted a tremendous amount of talk media discussion about the still politically controversial topic of climate change.
But climate change was not the only notable aspect of the conversation expressed on News Talk Radio that was generated by natural disasters. News Talk Radio is a media first responder that serves the public well-being during these kinds of emergencies, providing vital information, relief, and encouragement when the lights go out, the water rises, the earth trembles, and the flames invade residential areas.
At number 9, U.S.-China relations. 2020 was the year that the American public gained heightened awareness to the point of revelation that China has been mounting a 21st century-style multi-front offensive against American interests in business, trade, cyber surveillance, and military strategy, following its admittance into the World Trade Organization in 2001. The straw that broke the camel's back, however, was the communist nation's murky and extremely suspicious role in the origins and spread of misinformation pertaining to COVID-19.
If there's any one thing both the supporters and foes of President Trump have in common, it's general agreement that he was on the right track in his calling attention to America's China problem. And if President-elect Biden is smart, regardless of his past political history on the issue and the current investigation of his son's alleged connections to Beijing, he'll continue during his forthcoming presidency to follow the hardline course set by Trump.
At number 8, the Michael Flynn and Roger Stone cases. Michael Flynn, Donald Trump's early national security advisor, and Roger Stone, one of his longtime political advisors and strategists, were both convicted and sentenced to prison for crimes committed on behalf of the administration, only to be recently pardoned by the president amidst a lot of controversy.
In many ways, they became the poster children for Trump detractors to focus on the nonstop media and political campaign to paint the president and his inner circle as being shady and unlawful. Whether or not there's truth to that depiction, we leave it up to you.
At number 7, the impeachment of Donald Trump. By the time the Trump impeachment trial hit the Senate during the first month of 2020, it was a foregone conclusion that it would have no chance of reaching a guilty verdict in the Republican-controlled senior chamber. And of course, as we all know, it didn't.
As we present this year in review, it's hard to believe how much news has broken and how much our world has changed since January of 2020. The impeachment seems like an eternity ago.
At number 6, Supreme Court changes and appointments. The passing of iconic liberal Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg at the age of 87 in September led to President Donald Trump having the opportunity to appoint 3 new Supreme Court justices during his 4-year term, a legacy moving the court to a conservative majority that could last for decades.
It also sparked a major debate about the ethics of whether to make such appointments before or after a presidential election and the possibility of the Democrats packing the court in the event of a Biden victory.
At number 5, social media censorship. The awesome power and influence of social and digital media venues such as Facebook, Twitter, and Google prompted a massive amount of controversy in 2020 about the legal status of such entities as either platforms or publishers, shining the spotlight on exactly what constitutes their liabilities and responsibilities, both ethically and under the law, in terms of the accuracy of their content.
This discussion has tapped into the very heart and soul of exactly what the First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States means in the wild frontier of the rapidly accelerating digital era.
At number 4, the economy and unemployment. 2020 has been a devastating year for the economy, with COVID-19 putting severe restraints on businesses and entities based on human beings gathering in crowded situations such as restaurants, theaters, sporting events, public transportation, schools, and conventions. These lives versus livelihood issues sparked a non-stop debate over government's lawful and ethical role in dictating closures and restrictions on this aspect of day-to-day life. The very definition of the term normal has become an extremely subjective concept.
COVID-19 has instigated massive first-time unemployment claims, and as the year draws to a close, Congress has finally agreed upon the second of 2 stimulus packages that, although helpful, have proven to be a weak remedy for a problem that will certainly bedevil us going deep into 2021 and possibly well beyond. A subset of the business and economic turmoil we're experiencing has been the accompanying crisis in education caused by widespread school closings and disruption.
At number 3, the Black Lives Matter movement, race relations, and police reform. In the midst of a health and economic crisis, a series of incidents involving excessive police violence and brutality against black citizens, highlighted by the unnecessary killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis, triggered a wave of summertime street protests, some peaceful, some violent, in urban centers across America, and the escalation of the Black Lives Matter movement to the center stage of the national conversation. It has been described as a great racial reckoning in America.
This led to a strong national movement, at first to actually defund the police, and eventually to simply reform police policies, procedures, and attitudes in carrying out their relationship with the community, regardless of color, ethnicity, or economic status.
At number 2, the 2020 presidential election. It generated the most massive turnout in modern electoral history under complex pandemic conditions that included the extensive use of mail-in ballots, triggering allegations of voter fraud, and President Trump's refusal to recognize the legitimacy of Joe Biden's victory.
As we come to the end of 2020, the country is extremely politically polarized. One side believes that President Trump's refusal to recognize the election presents the gravest threat ever posed to American democracy. The other side believes the exact opposite, that it's the only thing that can save American democracy.
And at number 1, the COVID-19 pandemic. The coronavirus was not only the biggest story of the year, it certainly must be considered one of the most consequential of the past 100 years. Its impact on both physical and mental health, politics, the economy, education, social norms, technology, sports, and personal relationships is incalculable.
Fortunately, as we produce this year in review during the holiday season of 2020, multiple vaccines have been approved and the distribution and inoculations have begun. There is indeed light at the end of the tunnel and a spark of hope that will begin working our way out of this deep, dark, tragic mess in what will hopefully be a turnaround year. Thank you, Kevin Casey from Talkers Magazine. You're plugged into the Michael Harrison Wrap. Thank you, Kevin Casey from Talkers Magazine. You're plugged into the Michael Harrison Wrap. Let's begin the second half of our 2-part year in review by heading over to America's Playground and a visit with a local Atlantic City, New Jersey radio morning talk show legend who served as vice president of one of Donald Trump's hotels for several years before beginning his remarkable 29-year career on WPG, Harry Hurley. Harry, in last week's part 1 of our 2-part year in review story, we talked about the economy and how there are new methods out there of keeping things sterile and clean. Do you think that the pandemic will have pushed us forward, as some people are observing, in terms of the technology and the social norms of just having a higher consciousness of public health?
Without a doubt, Michael. Unbelievable point. A perfect question. We looked, just look at it this way. 10 months ago, we would look at other countries around the world when they were wearing face masks and almost think, if we wouldn't dare say it out loud, but we would think, what's wrong with them? What are they wearing masks for? What's that about?
That's true.
Is it the pollution? Is it something else? I mean, what do they have going on? We wouldn't even imagine wearing face masks and things like that. Here's what I think. The pandemic will end. We will go back to recreating. We will fill stadiums. We will fill concert halls. And we will go back to normal. Not a new normal. We will go back to normal. However, there'll be lasting effects. I think people are going to be more conscious about their washing hands, using hand sanitizer, picking and choosing where they think that hotels, restaurants, stores that are clean and obviously clean, that you see that they bioblast and that they do important things in terms of inspiring confidence. So even when it's over, once bitten, twice shy, I think people will be still very careful about where they go and make decisions where they won't go. And then that will be the free market will decide, and the strongest will survive. I think half the restaurants could be gone in America before this is over.
Harry, you worked with President Trump. As a matter of fact, you were his vice president, but not of the United States. You were vice president and in charge of one of his hotels for several years prior to your fabulous 29-year career as the morning mayor of Atlantic City. And you have some insights into his personality. And again, after all these decades, you are his friend and you have been his supporter, but without criticism here and there of a policy or two. What would you say to President Trump if he said, Harry, did I do anything wrong? Where did I blow this? How did I lose this election, aside from the claims of fraud?
Well, it's all COVID-19. Without the pandemic, President Trump would have earned a resounding second term. So it's all COVID-19. Where I think they lost it, I don't think necessarily the president lost it, because you have to take the whole person. He is who he is. He's not warm and fuzzy, but he is a tremendous executive. He's tremendous at accomplishing things. And when you look at the economy, record market highs. When you look at employment across the board, this is why it was no accident that he received the highest minority vote. Think about that. In a losing effort, it's really extraordinary, than any president since Richard Nixon in 1960. Extraordinary what he did. Where he lost it, I think he lost it in public relations. It's a shame, and I love the people that he has around him, but he had the media going against him for the most part, and they were never going to make anything look good. When he said we're going to have a vaccine before the end of the year, they called him basically one flew over the cuckoo's nest, and it would be a miracle to have a vaccine by the end of the year, and of course we do. And we'll have 100 million people vaccinated within days after into the new year. Where I think he lost it was that he doesn't have the warm and fuzzy personality, and you can't fake sincerity. He was perfect before a pandemic. The pandemic goes to the guy that people think has more empathy. The president is more empathetic than he gets credit for, but perception, unchallenged or not successfully challenged, is reality. That's where I think he lost it, because his effort, the USS Comfort, the other battleship turned hospital in California, the PPE, the ventilators, the call to arms, the effort was unprecedented in world history. Operation Warp Speed, he got credit for nothing. And when he told the truth, the media said he lied. And then he wasn't warm and fuzzy, and he wouldn't wear a mask. So all these things pile up, and the perception becomes the reality. All the good is forgotten. This entire election, much like 1876, the entire election was focused on one thing, and on only that one thing. If you say economy, Trump wins over Biden. If you say any number of things, employment, all these different things, Trump wins over Biden. The only thing he didn't win over Biden was empathy for handling the pandemic, and that was the determinative factor.
That's the honorary morning mayor of Atlantic City, New Jersey, Harry Hurley of WPG Radio, as we continue with the second half of our special two-part...
Okay, you get the idea. What a class act Michael Harrison is. You know, and I'm not sure that enough people listen to the Michael Harrison Rap Fridays at 6 p.m.
And Sundays.
We do a rerun.
We do.
Thanks for the reminder, Josh Stevens. I appreciate that. And but the other thing that we don't remind people enough is that anything that we produce and some of the things that we don't produce, like the Michael Harrison Rap, are available 100% on demand 24/7 at zbsradio.com, at ksco.com, or at our KSCO app.
And select streams are also on Facebook Live, such as your produced China Uber Alice and select Flight 1080 episodes, Dr. McCollum Wellness Radio, and soon possibly Think Local First, since they're getting a new time slot.
Wow, that's great. And what is that new time slot?
I believe it is 2 to 4 on Saturdays.
Okay, great. All right, so let's go to the phone lines here. It's the Saturday special. We're going to be talking with one or more hosts of KSCO programs. I do want to talk at length about China Uber Alles. I want to talk with Dr. and Mrs. Future about the Dr. Future show, which we've had on for, golly, at least a decade now. I can't believe it. It just seems like yesterday that we started. And that's Tuesdays 2 to 4. You know, I think you can have, if you have really good programming, the conventions don't need to be followed. The conventions meaning you have to have the same host and the same topic, you know, at the same day part, Monday through Friday. I think you can have different programs each day and have them be successful. And then that way it doesn't become that much of a burden or a job, or, you know, it's something that can always be fresh and nice. And you could imagine what I'm thinking now, because we are going to have to make some changes. Well, always you have to make changes, you know, in a radio station, schedule changes and so forth. And, you know, rather than look to make changes, you know, 5 days a week for 2 or 3 hours at a time, maybe we should be thinking about doing what we do on the 2 to 4 slot on Monday through Friday on KSCO, and KSCO Presents. Maybe. Anyhow.
Does that mean Fridays could be live again?
Maybe.
Ooh.
Yeah. I mean, I know everybody wants to sink the Saturday special rerun ship. I know that.
It's nothing wrong with it. It's the concept of keeping it live into the weekend, because I feel like it hurts our weekend content, because then people think, oh, it's Friday, they're all checked out, we're going to check out too, rather than want to call into your show when it's live, or let alone any of the other great weekend programming, especially now that we're going to be live from like 10 to 6 now on Saturdays.
That's very exciting. Yeah. Okay. Well, good. So, Flinks, spelled Flinx. Is that right? Flinks?
Yes. That's it.
What kind of a name is Flinks?
It comes from a novel from the Piers Anthony science fiction stories about a guy named Flinks, and he has a pet mini dragon called Pip.
Is that a Kanik name that you that you or somebody in your family came up with for you, or is that on your birth certificate?
No, I got it from what's her face that does the taxes show. She said, call in with your favorite character or your favorite, you know, your ghost or your whatever you want. Just you don't have to use your real name. Just call in with your favorite character of something, or you know, I don't know if you
taxes show. What show is that?
Money Moves.
Oh, well, the one with the money. Okay, yeah, Pamela Fugit Hetrick. So she's credited with your Kanik name, huh? That's pretty good.
Actually, I just wanted to go real quick here on the Michael Harrison.
Yeah.
I really like him live, like when he's live. Sometimes his show on Fridays interrupts Flight 1080. I love the live stuff that you guys have, and I know you can't change it because his show's important and it's a good show, but sometimes I feel like it's just a deluge of bullet points. You know, it's like, oh, God, can't you just focus on one thing? But I love his live show. When he's on live and you can debate with him, it's really fun. But Because it goes from live radio. You have live radio all day, and then all of a sudden you're hit with the pre-recorded thing. And I'm not trying to criticize it. I think it's good. I didn't know if you realized that it kind of does that a little bit. And I love KSCO, and Happy New Year to all you guys, and have a great day. I have to go actually right now. But
was it something I said?
No.
All right, Flings, Happy New Year to you. Thanks for listening, and thanks for being a great caller. Richard in P. Grove. Disagree with MH Rap. Now, wait a second. We only accept praise. We do not accept criticism. So, do you want to rethink that before we put you on? Richard? Are you there, Richard, in Pacific Grove? I don't know what happened to Richard in Pacific Grove. He's gone. Well, he hung up.
You scared him.
It was probably, oh, good. Olson is here. Good. Olson. Hi, Michael Olson. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling just right.
Yeah, that's I never should even have to ask you that, because that's always the answer, and it's always true. So listen.
Well, it's an interesting answer to a question that everybody asks everybody.
What?
How you doing? Well, I'm doing just right, and then that stops them in their tracks for a few minutes.
Yeah.
And they smile.
But I like to say, "How are you feeling today?" And people say,
"Okay."
They say, "Well, okay. I mean, was I sick or something?" But I just like to do that. That's just part of my shtick. But anyhow, how does it feel? Correct me if I'm wrong. This last Thursday, you did the China Uber Alles show hosting honors for the first time.
Yeah, I did. That's the first time I did China Uber Alles. A week or so before that, I did Common Sense. I sat in for Ashley on Common Sense, and I also did pretty much the same thing on China.
Uh-huh.
So I'm in deep doo-doo now with China. I'm sure I'm going to have to move someplace where that China doesn't own.
Yeah, geez. Well, I just want to say, and I'm not kidding around, no, I do kid around quite a bit, as you and other people who listen to me know, but I'm dead serious when I say your hosting of that show was absolutely phenomenal. And the program itself was the best I've ever heard on our station. And we're all just very, very proud of that show. And that's not to say the regular or up until now host of China Uber Alles is Bill Graff, and he's a veteran a broadcaster. But I don't think he has the background in China that you do. I mean, you speak Chinese and you read Chinese. I don't think people know that about you.
Well, there was a time in my life when I spent 3 years studying Chinese to the extent that I was dreaming in Chinese. And it was a big part of my life. And so I've always been a Chinese aficionado, a scholar, a sinophile, I guess, as it might be. And I would have gone to China and participated in the great land rush over there, except Chairman Mao talked me out of it. And if the truth be known, I just figured there would never be a place in China for a contrarian such as myself. I would probably not last very long.
Well, you asked a very leading question. I don't know if that's the right term, but your question that you kept asking, which I thought was a very powerful and entertaining question. Do you think that the ecology movement people or practitioners have been, in effect, useful idiots for the Chinese Communist Party? Well, that was what a great question to ask. But the fact that it was asked at all would definitely cast in just about anybody's mind a biased of that program, or certainly of the host of that that day host of the program. What do you think?
Well, no, not necessarily.
Good.
The essential element of news talk radio, as I understand it, is thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. So it's the essence of democracy. One person says one thing, and another person says, well, wait a minute, I don't agree with that. And then they have a discussion, and eventually a synthesis of those two things comes out that might just be workable. And so when I opened the program, and incidentally, when we started planning that program, I got an email that said pretty much exactly that. It laid out the fact that throughout, going back to the times of the Soviet Union, the environmental community has been very close with these totalitarian dictatorships, like Joseph Stalin and Lenin. And that's where the term useful idiot came from, is from Lenin, who was remarking at these idealistic young people coming over to Russia to help start a revolution. He just called them our useful idiots. And so when we were planning the show, I got an email that said of an article I think it was out of Real Clear Energy, and it talked about how the environmental movement has been really working on behalf of the Chinese Communist Party. And that reminded me of a time when I was growing up in Montana. It was a wee hike and a carload of Olsen kids. And whenever we go past this refinery on our way up to the Beartooth Mountains, the refinery would reek, it would stink, and all of us kids would just fall all over ourselves, gasping and cursing and making fun jokes about what it smelled like. And my father would always wait till we were done, and then he would just say, kids, that's money you smell. And every time we went by the refinery, that's exactly what it said. And I just came to the conclusion that we have grown into a country of Olsen kids, where we chase away our industry because it's dirty. And then we run down to the box store and buy made in China because it's cheap. And so for the past 30 years, we've been doing this as we watch our nation bleed out. And I just think it's so sad.
It's an incongruous, too. You don't have to think too hard to realize that it is incongruous. It doesn't make any sense. The people who like hearing like the term that we got to be nice to the environment, they don't bother to think further than that and look further than that to see that the people saying that are the worst stewards of the environment on planet Earth. So why do you listen to them?
And if you look at the act of buying made in China, and you see what China has done to their environment and what it is doing to the amount of greenhouse gases being poured into the environment, it just doesn't make any sense. We now have the cleanest environment in the world here in the United States. So if you want to save the environment, best thing you can do is to shop local. And so that's the challenge that I put on the table on the China Uber Alles show. But nobody really responded to it.
Well, now wait a minute. People are always telling me that I make an error by measuring the effectiveness of the show by the call count. I know you didn't have all that many callers. You might have had 3 or 4 callers total during the 2-hour show day before yesterday.
But you know what we had? What we had that was simply spectacular? We had Amy Howe and Nan Su. And did you realize what a crew you put together on that show? This is really amazing stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't heard China Uber Alles, you simply must tune in. A great way to do that is to go to ChinaUberAlles.com and look for Amy Howe's A Christmas Miracle Story, 1972. amazing. And what Amy Howe brings to the table is the experience of having lived through one of the greatest cultural earthquakes in the history of humankind, the Cultural Revolution. And her stories are so incredibly rich that you can spend hours and hours and hours with just talking about the stories you just talked about.
And there's no limit to the number of stories she has. I hope she'll call in. I hope she'll call in because
Nan Su, Nan Su is a senior reporter for Epoch Times, and he brings this really rich historical perspective of China and what happened in China and how the Chinese Communist Party changed China and the threat that change poses to the entire world. But he's a writer, so he brings things from an entirely different perspective. So, the two of them together, wow, incredible.
It's true. It's true. So what do you see as the future of the China Uber Alles show in 2021? What do you think?
What do you think? I think it needs some development, but I think it's an incredible show. I think it should have been on the weekend.
Really?
Yeah. You know why?
Why?
Because it would be much more easy to syndicate it on the weekend.
Well, I was talking to Michael Harrison this morning, actually, and we were talking about syndication. And syndication is dead. We both agree that syndication is dead, but what isn't dead is making a station like ours, KSCO, a superstation. Who needs syndication when you have really good programming that the world needs to know about, and it goes viral, and people keep talking about it and say, you got to tune into this program.
That's exactly what I've been saying for like 20 years.
It is true. You have been saying that. You have been saying that, and we've done our best.
And what I've also been saying is that Santa Cruz, California, is a destination resort for the world.
Right.
People want to come here, and we are Santa Cruz.
Right. Oh, okay. Hold on, Michael. My prayers have been answered here. Here's Amy on KSCO. Michael is on with us too. Amy, how has it been? You never thought that you were going to become a radio personality, and here you are.
That's true. That's true. I never thought about. Honest with you, I never listened to the talk radio. Before, never.
Yep.
Even the long drive, I always listen to music. It's maybe only one time I listened to is 1989 earthquake, because we don't have any other source.
You must have listened to us down then, because we're the only station that stayed on the air for the first several hours after the earthquake.
Yeah, probably true. Yeah, so somebody, I don't have a radio. Somebody, I think that I was on the bus, and they stuck in the tunnel.
Oh, in the BART tunnel going across the bay. Yeah.
And they manually move out to the car, and then everybody, only 2 or 3 radio people entire the train. And we just listen to all we know is earthquake. Otherwise, never know. So it's how important the radio is. But in China, I was in the commute sent to this very far away from Shanghai, but near Burma, Myanmar. And they have a BBC. I would listen to radio, always hiding in my blanket, and then listen to the BBC.
Because you wouldn't have been allowed to listen in the Chinese communist labor camp that you were in for 10 years, right?
Yeah, so that's how important it is. So for me to understand that there's another world there. I never would dream about can go to the free world. So now we launching this review last year, launching this China Uber Alles, this program in August, right?
Yeah.
First one. I'm just saying, yeah. And I think, I think the last one for 2020, we talk about this is the awakening year. And also this programs the purpose of this program, we try to awaken the American people to look at and what's the Chinese CCP infiltrated to our country, what kind of threat, not a threat, I mean, it's really they infiltrate and penetrated to every field. So it's a time for us to tell this and to wake people up and from La La Land.
Wow. Yeah, so that's, I assume that's why you do it. That's why you do this program.
Yeah, so I talking about the story, actually the reason I want to talk about it, because it's after I revisited China. It's about 10 years ago. I also make some investment in China and updated. And for me to realize the CCP, they never changed. Actually, it's getting much, much worse. So that's the purpose. That's the motivation is I wanted to tell people.
Okay, so suppose we are successful at awakening people to the danger of the CCP to our country and to the world and to the free world. Then what? Suppose we're successful. Then what's the best that can happen? Do you think we're going to defeat the CCP? Do you think that's possible? Aren't they too big and strong and powerful and rich now?
Yeah, I just listened to the...
Yeah, go ahead, Michael.
No.
Yeah. Well, what struck me in doing the show on the environmental crisis of China is that China lives on the rest of the world. And if I believe, if the environmental community knew or had a concept of what they are doing by chasing our industry away because it's dirty and buying made in China because it's cheap, that will provide the impetus for a worldwide environmental movement to shop local and stop buying made in China. And if that were to happen, that would make a huge, huge, huge change in the Chinese Communist Party, I think.
Well, that would be good, wouldn't it, Amy?
Yeah, that's what I think about. That's I have a hope for the Trump administration. That's the only one administration started this war with China. And they know, he's the one stand between they taking over the whole world. So that's all about it. But I don't know. Now we have some kind of, are we still going to continue and just battle, or we just give up?
Well, if we don't continue the show, that's tantamount to giving up, I think. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we need to put a lot more thought and energy into the show, I think, which is basically what Michael said already. So, hey, your Pure Heart has sent an email saying MO is right, and then parentheses, of course. Hi, MZ. 2 examples of MO's comments are the Lone Star plant up in Davenport being closed and the sand plant in Marina being shut down just last week. Both were pointless losses of products and jobs. Thank you, Pure Heart. How true. So, all right. Well, so we've got a lot of work ahead of us, gang. Yeah, so, and thank you, Michael, and thank you, Amy.
Thanks for having us.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
John Sandage and his orchestra, who is a part-time host with Charlie and a long-time original host or co-host of Good Morning Monterey Bay back in the early 90s, which is almost 30 years ago. Hey, John.
Hey, Michael. Just heard your call out for hosts, and I barely squeak under the bar for that on KSCO. But
you're fine. You're fine.
I'm very pleased to be there and join in with Charlie once a month. And in fact, this Monday we're doing an interesting thing. I'm going to come on with Charlie in his second hour, and then he's going to stay with me in the first hour of the 2 to 4 show.
Oh, so, okay. I guess Alex Darnell might not be here that day, right?
Right, Rosemary set this up.
I see. Great.
And I think that what Charlie and I are doing is we can talk to each other without falling apart about what we think.
Yeah.
And we're trying to bring some calmness to the discussion, which is always difficult. In fact, Charlie got called a coward by one of his listeners because he didn't agree with him wholeheartedly. So we're trying to get away from the name calling and get into what really needs to happen is bringing people closer together instead of pushing them further apart. And I think the KSCO could play a big part in that through all of the programming. As you have said many times, it's better to have a conversation than an argument.
Totally.
So,
yeah, you're right. I have said it many times. And do you think it still hasn't happened all that much, right?
Well, and that's what talk radio is. I mean, people want to get their opinions out, and a lot of them are not very well spoken, so they fall into calling names, and that's just part of the game in talk radio. We have to try and do the best we can to get people to understand that just because we disagree does not mean we can't talk about it and find a middle ground that everybody can be happy with.
And shouldn't, actually, so that's...
that's what I'm working for and always have. When I was hosting the morning show, I always like to have both sides of the story on.
That's true. That's true. And I've always appreciated your fabulous sense of humor, John. Well, it made me laugh plenty of times, which I think is very important, really, because laughter is medicinal,
I think that's absolutely your father proved that. I always enjoyed hearing him on the comedy, telling the jokes when he was still with us.
Yeah. We did 4 Saturday joke specials, and some of them were a little out there in the risque department, but we did 4 of them in 1997, I think, and we still have those. We've replayed a number of them a number of times. Yeah. So.
You're getting to break time here, aren't you?
No, there's no break. Oh, there is a break. Yeah, the news break. We don't run commercial breaks during the Saturday special. Why don't we, Josh Stevens?
Because you had a rogue pie thing one time and we blew past it.
I would ask Michael Olson.
Okay. Yeah, let's blame Michael Olson. You know me, I never accept personal responsibility for any of my actions. I always look to others to point the blame to. Always.
Monday, Michael, and you can point some blame at me then.
Okay, good. I'm looking forward to it. Thanks, John. You have a good one. And here, we'll say hello to Dr. and Mrs. Future, but only for a moment or two. We'll hold you over until the next, until the next hour here. Are you guys there? Dr. and Mrs. Future?
Oh, they're. I think I told them that they're gonna hold to the top of the hour, so.
Oh.
They're probably taking a little break before they are ready.
Oh, here they come! Here they come! Or here comes Son. Anyhow.
I was mistaken. I thought that I was listening to the radio and that Al had the phone in the other room, but I was wrong. It was the other way around.
Yeah. Anyhow, so when we come back. After the news break in 30 seconds, we're going to talk about the world of the futures in the past and in the present and in the future. Okay?
Sounds great.
Does that sound cool? Good. Great. Okay, Mrs. Future, that is wonderful, and we look forward to it. Thank you, Josh Stevens, for running a great hour number 1. You're listening to KS
Special 1106 at KSCO.
Josh Stevens.
MZ, Michael Zwerling.
Dave Michaels.
Good morning, MZ.
What do you have in that cylindrical, that square long box?
I have in this box some vinegar from Longevity. And now, they don't make this themselves, but it is something that they distribute.
Exclusively, I think. Right?
This product is strawberry, mango, apricot balsamic vinegar. This is just one of the many products that Longevity sells. Now, we can't carry all the products that they sell, but this is one of the ones that we do carry out at the Dave Cave. It comes in a nice little box here, nicely wrapped. And again, if you can't make it down here, you can check this out
God.
at KSCOhealth.com. You can check
It's
out
wrapped
any of
like
the products there.
like a gift wrapped almost.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's from a company called Savior, and it looks like, or Savior, I don't know if it's French.
Yeah, I think that's a company that
Savor.
Yeah, that Longevity acquired last year or the year before. Anyhow, it's really, really good gourmet balsamic vinegar.
Fantastic stuff.
I know because I have eaten it.
Do you know?
Do you eat vinegar or do you drink it? I drank it, I think.
I don't know if you should drink it either. Maybe you put it on your salad or dip your bread in there. Yeah, that's probably the better way to do it. Yeah.
Very, very delicious.
It is. It's very, very delicious.
And unique. I've never seen that combination of flavor, balsamic vinegar, anywhere.
You can check it out at KSCOhealth.com, MZ. That's the next best thing to holding it in your hand and checking it out that way. You can go online, KSCOhealth.com. And while you're there, might I recommend that you check out the Herbal Rainforest, MZ, because the holidays have passed and we ate a lot of stuff, a lot of turkey and a lot of meats and all that kind of stuff. You know, you want to make sure that your system is clear and running at optimum capacity. You know what I'm saying?
The herbal rainforest.
Herbal rainforest, yeah. It gets your digestive system cleared out and moving just like it should be.
Is that sort of like,
Yeah, well, it's kind of a, how do you...
Sort of like X-Lax?
It's not a laxative, though, MZ. It just makes things get going just like they should. It's nothing harsh. Certainly nothing that's...
I see. That's the difference between not a laxative and a laxative is always harsh. Is that right?
Yeah, this is something that gently works. You take 1 teaspoon per day or a little capful per day, and it gets your system running. It's not something that you take when you're, when you need it. This is something that you take to maintain your digestive system.
I remember somebody saying to me when Herbal Rainforest first came out that it had Cascara sagrada in it.
What is that?
It moves things along.
All right. Well, I don't know what it has in it, but it does it gently. It doesn't give you, say the squirts. Can I say that?
Yeah, say it.
Okay.
Say it loud.
Herbal Rainforest will not give you the squirts. It will not make you do the green apple 2-step. It will not make you do the robot walk with your stiff legs. It won't do any of that stuff, MC. It works gently. Try it out. It's fantastic stuff. It's only $35 a bottle. You can go on to KSCOhealth.com and order it there.
Or come and fondle it here at the Dave Cave, right?
But we don't have any in stock.
Oh,
So that's the thing. So go to KSCOhealth.com. You can order anything you want there. It's safe, too. Somebody had a bad experience, MZ, with something they bought online that was not from KSCOhealth.com, and I could not help them. I could not help him. As bad as I wanted to help this guy, I could not help him. It is not officially purchased through us unless you go to KSCOhealth.com. You want to support your favorite radio station?
Or the Dave Cave, or calling that your phone number, which is
218-KSCO. That's the only way we can make sure that you get your hands on the right product and it's placed properly so that you can support your favorite radio station. And we appreciate that. We absolutely appreciate that. Support your favorite radio station. Get the stuff you want delivered to your house with a credit card if you want. KSCOhealth.com. Good?
Now, who can argue with that?
No one better argue with that.
I can't. Now, listen,
Right.
I want to do a great, big, giant shout out to Nancy and Carmel.
Oh.
Nancy and Carmel left a beautiful gold 2-pound box of C's candies.
Wow.
Here, come and eat a bunch of them.
All right, you got it.
Because I won't eat.
I'll get a whole pocket full.
Yeah, because otherwise I'll eat them all.
Holy mackerel.
Have you ever seen anything like that?
That is beautiful.
Nancy and Carmel, oh, what a great listener to KSCO. What a great friend of KSCO. And she feels sorry for us, so she brought she appreciates, says thanks for being, it says thank you for being my favorite radio stat.
That's very sweet.
Yeah, it says stat, and then the next line says shun.
Okay.
Right, Nancy and Carmel.
One more thing before I get out of here, MZ. Longevity also sells chocolates. Go to KSCOhealth.com and you can find all kinds of things.
And this is the good time of year for that. If it was during the winter, the summertime, then the chocolates would all melt.
Right.
When
You
they
have
get shipped to you.
And you can even order the Cocogevity, which is like a liquid chocolate you could pour in your ice cream. You can mix it with your milkshakes. You can do whatever. Check it out, KSCOhealth.com. You're going to find all kinds of cool things. KSCOhealth.com. You can purchase with your credit card delivered to your house, and you support your favorite radio station.
We love it. Thank you, Dave Michaels, and your orchestra. Okay, here's hour number 2.
Oh, hello, darling. I hate to hang up on you, but I'm sorry, baby, but I have to go. It's time for that wonderful record show. I'd love to visit, but you'll have to call back. KSCO has the inside track.
Okay, we are enjoying looking back and present and forward today.
I'm sorry, baby, but I really gotta go to KSCO Radio. Bye.
Can you think of better humans to look back with than Dr. and Mrs. Future? Hello. How are you folks? Be honest.
Awesome.
Yeah. When did you do the first Dr. Future show? What was? Am I right?
I think
was
it
was it
July of 09. And, you know, we just came on to do one show. And then by 2010, I think in January or February, you come on regularly.
Okay, so it has been 10 years. Or, since you did the first one, anyhow, or the first guest shot. I remember for something in the back of my mind. I think you were on the same 2-hour program that the first hour or the second hour that you not shared, but 1 hour was with Sylvia Panetta, where we had her on the radio, and then the next one was with you guys. So, or the other way around. But anyhow, we got a lot of positive response, and so, from that, the Dr. Future show evolved. So, what are your thoughts about the last 10 years, and the current period, and the future?
Well, we've started to put together a list of some of the things that happened in this year of COVID, especially. And one of the big things that has really shifted the landscape of the future is the rise of online events. Have just gone crazy since the COVID hit the scene, with Zoom particularly, and virtual reality. It's really hard to get a VR headset right now because they're so popular. And we've been looking at how to make that jump. It's kind of reminiscent of how in 1879 it was a pandemic that created the first phone numbers in Massachusetts. Before that, they didn't use phone numbers, so you just Martha the operator knew you by person. But then there's too many people getting sick; they needed to have numbers.
1879. That's like 35 years before the 2017 or 2016 pandemic.
Yes, it was, and yet it sparked and moved forward technology at a remarkable pace back then. So it's kind of reminiscent of that, only we're moving towards whole new worlds like virtual reality. And one of our guests, Dan Mapes, an old Santa Cruiser, is pioneering what's called the spatial web, which is the next generation of the internet. It moves away from it being essentially a document server like it is today to actually a place where you can visit places and do things in. So, the virus.
How will that be possible? You can still go look at travel videos on YouTube or wherever, right? Even now.
Yeah, but those are documents. Those are like file servers. You're looking at an MP4 file. You're basically sending information, documents to files from one person to another, and that's what the internet is really good at. But in a spatial web, you're like it'd be like walking from the studio that you're in now to your office. You're in a different room, you know. Or to the Dave Cave, you know. You're literally in a different space, and it's not so much serving documents as it actually is creating interactive spaces that you can work and play in. So that's coming online quite rapidly. You'll see more of it this year. We'll give you an example. We'll show you how that works.
Will?
We will. And it's so funny because we have a lot of great breakthroughs happening at the same time. We have we have this pandemic. So it's kind of they seem like they're contradictory, but one actually drives the other. What's also interesting is that we've talked about flying cars for years, for example, and this year it was announced that the flying car that Uber is going to embrace is coming from Santa Cruz. It's a Santa Cruz flying car from Joby Aviation. So that's a big future breakthrough for our own backyard here. And that's kind of pretty exciting.
It sure is. Wow. And then, of course, the self-driving cars, which are closer than we think, right?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, the Tesla this year is releasing the full self-driving package. That's their promise for 2021.
And doesn't Amazon also have one? Amazon is doing an autonomous.
Yeah, we did a story on the Zook.
Wait a second.
The Zook.
ZOOX. Amazon Zook.
Yeah, those are pilotless vehicles. They look like a train car, small ones that you just sit in. Seats facing each other, and off you go to your destination. It'd be like taxi service. You call them up, they come up, and off you go. So that Santa Cruz is a leader in that arena. Interestingly enough. Also, fake news and deep fakes are happening at an increased rate of speed as well. So, like when you see something on the news, pretty soon it could be entirely fake. It would not.
Pretty soon, I don't know. That sounds like backwards looking to me. There's a lot of fake news.
Well, there is, but I'm talking about virtual, where it sounds like Trump is saying something that he actually isn't.
I see what you're saying. Like Photoshop for news reports, huh?
Well, for just about everything. Yeah, but news reports seem to be the frontier for where that type of technology is being applied.
But really what it is you have an online avatar that is realistically a rendition of a real person, and then that avatar is being, words are being put into that avatar's mouth by a real person in a sound studio. And, just the avatar's lips are moving.
Wow. Okay, so you guys are always interested in not being sad.
Yeah.
Right? Better than I like hanging out with you guys because it rubs off on me. I'd rather hang with uppers than downers. Okay, and there's a lot of people in talk radio and participants, consumers of talk radio and participants in talk radio who are downers. And I want to steer away from that if possible, because it's better to be positive than negative anyhow. But especially if there's nothing you can do about it, right? Don't you think?
Yeah, because otherwise you might feel powerless as well as depressed.
Now, I have witnessed, and I've told you this, personally, son, on one or more walks, that I've noticed a change in you. You seem to embrace a strong opinion on things that I've never seen you embrace strong opinions on. It doesn't matter what it is. I'm just saying. But the whole idea about positivity versus negativity, I think, is something that should be the rule, not the exception.
I agree. You can do a lot more with the positive energy of your life than you can by complaining and acting like you can't fix it.
Oh, you know, the thing that concerns me there is how can you be positive about something like election fraud?
Well,
future's really
let's
into
try.
that.
Let's try.
Well, you know, I'm soothing myself because we're in an impossible situation where the country has been divided 50-50 for a long time, and it's become acrimonious. And yet, we're still Americans. We still are full of people who are idealistic and want the best possible outcome. And we have differences of opinion on how to get there. And even though there's a lot of media driving people into rages that they then vent on each other, what's real about our country is that we are full of the most creative, productive survivors of negativity in the world. And I think that legacy lives on. I don't think it's conquerable, even with fake news.
And you think there is more and more fake news out there on both sides? I don't want to put words in your mouth, but is that a true statement?
Yeah, I think so. There's even artificial intelligence algorithms that write fake news.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're one of the big breakthroughs this year is there AIs that can write news stories.
And so when you put that together with, say, the Cambridge Analytica reveal about how social media is only interested in mining your personal data and then feeding you stories to manipulate your opinions, and they do that because then you'll stay on the page longer. You know, there's a certain amorality in the way that these people are programming the machines that we want to help us. So people have to take responsibility for their own behavior, even if they're getting fed toxic points of view from the media.
Ooh, I like that. Hey, we have Billy Sunshine, we have Mr. Lennon Murder Truth Guy, that's Steve, and we have Jaunty. So please, all of you people, stay on the Futures. Let's talk to Jaunty because Jaunty and Dr. and Mrs. Future have certain things in common. Jaunty, hi, Jaunty, Happy New Year.
MZ, very much so. Kindred spirits. Although my wife and I have been here for a while listening in, and Amy and Olson and the conversation that you all had earlier was profound and important and very much appreciated.
Oh, you're so kind. You have quite a bit to do with that China Uber Alles thing because of a program, because you are in the inner circle of that. And for those of you who might have forgotten or who don't know, Jaunty is the person in charge of all digital operations for KSCO and ZBS. And we like to think that China Uber Alles is unique. And whether we like to think it or not, it is. So, you know, Jaunty is helping us, you know, make China Uber Alles get more traction elsewhere than just on the radio
I don't see
station.
any reason why we shouldn't have 500,000 or 3 million newsletter subscribers to China Uber Alles, because we're providing extremely unique, valuable information that nobody else seems to be courageous enough to display, to produce. So,
are we risking danger because of
yes.
that?
Yes, we probably are.
What kind of danger, Jaunty?
Walking into a liquor store without a face mask danger.
Great example.
My wife thought that was funny.
Oh.
I agree.
No, I mean, I don't know.
So does Mrs. Future think that too?
But,
But
people are afraid to laugh at anything around face masks. There's just too much contention.
well,
you know, MD, you do have two of my favorite people on the radio, and while they're both here, I'd be really curious to know. I mean, I like to do math. So when when I'm just alone and bored by myself, or when I wake up in bed at night and I'm just thinking about things, what I like to do is try and figure out things like infection fatality rates, things like that. And I think what the current information is showing us is that if you're under 55, then there's an extraordinarily low chance that you're going to die from this bleeping thing. So low that we should just have like a Woodstock. We should get all the young folks out at like a Woodstock kind of thing, event, and have them all infect each other, and then we'll have herd immunity 2 weeks later, and we get to have a good party.
Now we're talking. Awesome, John T. I knew you had the answer. I have been told that the public has not been invited to the conversation about the best way to handle this pandemic.
Which is to have a big party. I love when that's the solution.
I think, should we have the party at KSCO? At our potty patio? I almost forgot we had a potty patio because we haven't used it in a year and a half.
MZ, you should host a super spreader event.
A super spreader event.
The Santa Cruz KSCO super spreader event.
Now, wait a minute. I can't tell whether you're tricking or not, Jaunty. In talking with you privately.
Careful.
I can't either.
What? What are you talking about? What are you saying, Josh Stevens?
You'll have to mute them so I can say the thing.
Go ahead. All right, go ahead.
Okay, so be careful. If Auntie Newell is listening, you're going to get in trouble.
Oh, Gail Newell, yeah.
Well, what is talk radio if you can't possibly get in trouble, you know?
But I can't tell whether you are tricking or not, because the last time you and I talked privately, Jaunty, which was yesterday, you sounded to me like you were taking this as seriously as the most serious taking people regarding the virus.
Oh, no. I mean, I do wear a mask in the shower, of course, because you never know.
That's pretty good.
I'm kind of nauseated by it at this point in time.
Yeah.
People used to die, you know. People used to die, and it was okay to die. It was fine. People used to die. But now dying is the thing you can't do anymore. So we're a complete train wreck as a society.
So let's take this a little further. Like if everyone goes to the party, it's like an infection party. They get infected and they go home. Aren't they putting people that are over 55 in danger that they might run into?
Good point, Dr. Future. Good point.
Yes, they are, absolutely.
They're aware of it.
And then they might die. And people die. That's what happens. You are born, you live, and then you die. I'm pretty sure I got that binary logic at a younger age, about 13. But for a lot of people, this is really distressing stuff. The death rate, the mortality rate about 100 years ago was way more than it is now. People used to have 6 or 8 or 10 kids in the hopes that 2 of them would live to replace the population. And now, so we had, the death rate was high. We just had lots of kids and everyone died. Everyone died a lot. And people were courageous. People were courageous because you only live so long anyway. And the people would charge into the no man's land and get blown up in some stupid war because they were brave, because they were willing to die. And now we are not willing to die anymore, especially the baby boomer generation. It's like, you guys all need to wreck your whole lives just in case we die slightly sooner than we otherwise would have. And there's something extraordinarily narcissistic about that. It's something very silly and selfish. I think that we should just say, okay, people are going to die. Let's all give a big hug, and then let's throw a big party. Let's have a Woodstock. And some of us are going to die, because that's part of the story.
Wow.
Well,
are you being serious, John T?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, you see, the thing is that modern medicine has a lot of people alive today that have comorbidities that wouldn't have been alive 100 years ago. And that's the new normal. And a lot of people we know and love, and a lot of grandparents and great-grandparents would just be subject to the whims of disease once again. And do we want to go back to that? You know? And I think one of the things that we do have in Santa Cruz is we have a lot of holistic health practitioners who can teach us to enhance our immune systems and give alternatives such as better health to deal with these things. And I think that's one of our great gifts is that, you know, we do have the ability to live healthier than we've ever done before. And I think we could use that information as well as whatever information is coming down. I don't think everyone should be vaxxed. I think that's a mistake to focus on that as the solution to this. There are many others to consider.
Test the vaccine for about 10 years to see what sort of results it has, you know, what sort of long-term results it has. And now we're rushing this thing out, especially the mRNA ones, man. And I think actually in the Pfizer experiment, on the form it said to the men, you may want to freeze some of your sperm because if you plan on having kids later. So I'm not in a big hurry to...
Oh, you said freeze, not breathe.
Definitely don't. Yeah.
For a second, I was confused there.
MZ, the strangest thing ever said on the radio.
Well, that's what I thought I heard.
That's a whole other trajectory there.
Well, wait a minute. Should we add Billy Sunshine to this mix?
Oh, definitely.
Billy! Happy New Year, Billy.
Happy New Year, girls and boys.
How are you feeling today?
I'm very cold.
So am I.
No, you're not as cold as I am. It's 59 degrees in my house.
Oh.
My furnace broke at the wrong time.
I'm sorry.
I'll survive. But I might not survive the world that Jaunty and the futures have in mind for me. I'm concerned.
You might die.
I heard that there's... What's that?
I don't have that world in mind. I just have in mind that we should have more free speech to talk about it.
Oh, yeah, we should be able to talk about it. Although, I must say, I'm shocked by the fellow who's on the radio that tells us we should have parties without masks on, when it seems to me that every place in the world is doing it the same way because it's the only way we know how to do it, other than ask the old folks to drop our bodies so that, you know, young folks can, I don't know, have money.
No, really.
Have money. Billy, are you going to die?
Yes, sir.
Are you going to die, my friend?
I'm going to try not to in the very near future.
Well, no, hold on. I'm not saying
I'm going to die eventually, Doll. Yes.
Are you one day going to die?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I intend to die. But as a man of intention, my intention is not to die while I'm still needed here. And you people desperately need me, clearly.
That was awesome. Oh, I do have a lot of affection for you, my friend. And thank you.
And I love all my radio buddies.
I don't want you to die. Don't want you to die.
Yeah, die.
I don't want you to die.
Yep.
Well, you know, it's the whole way it works. I just say I cry every day when they do the thing on the news where they show you the people dying who can't say goodbye to their relatives. They're dying alone. They tell you all about them. And while people do die, it's a sad way to go. This is a sad time for us all, whether you're losing your house, your business, or your life, or your grandmother. We need to find a way to pull together now. And one of the things I think that's going to come out of all this, of course, is I really hope that we don't have any more elections ever that are in doubt. Let's fix the election system.
Oh, there you go. Cheers to that. Let's have a voting system where nobody has any doubt about the vote.
Does anybody disagree with Jaunty or Billy?
You have to show identification to be able to vote. How about that?
Great idea, but the problem is in certain places they close down all the places to get your identification if you're in a certain kind of color or neighborhood. You see, and that's really the problem. The ultimate problem is the quality of the people that we bring in to govern us has fallen so very low. How do we fix that?
Well, we get some quality people, but the media boots them out because there's this kind of machine that won't allow popular candidates. You know that Tulsi Gabbard had this huge ballooning of searches on Google when she got up on the stage and started speaking her mind. But Google, her ad campaign broke that night for some reason. So I don't know, we do have an oligarchic system going on, and they happen to be in control of much of the media, except for KSCO.
Well, yes, independent media is very valuable, and it's completely disappeared.
Laughs in Los Angeles.
Well, I mean, not completely, obviously. Yes. Yeah, Michael.
Yes,
Thanks for having a radio station.
You're welcome, Billy. Thanks for thanking me.
You're welcome. You can thank me now for helping put content in. Come on.
Absolutely. I've always said that. I know. I wish there were more people of the less popular. No. I would just say less popular. Less popular opinion.
No, it's a more popular opinion, actually.
Well, less popular as it goes on KSCO, right?
Yes. Well, it's good that there are a few very brave people that don't mind being highly criticized, that come on and they stand up for what they believe. And so I want to give myself a round of applause.
Okay. And what about Steve Lightfoot, who is now on with all of us?
Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year, Mike.
Yeah, to you too, Steve. So you're with the Dr. and Mrs. Future, you're with Billy Sunshine, and you're with John T., our esteemed digital media guru, and you're with Josh Stevens, and everybody else who is listening.
The only family I have.
Well, good. How was your New Year?
Well, I was fighting. Well, you know how Elvis had his nose broke twice before I got out of Tupelo, Mississippi? Well,
yes.
I ran into the same kind of jealousy from a redneck up there, and he led me on that he was going to fix something on my car, but he didn't. He was just enjoying my frustration, and I was freezing my butt off for 2 weeks waiting for him to make up his mind, and finally blew up. But anyway, that's over with, and I had a lot of time to think about the dilemma we're all in regarding my evidence about who killed John Lennon. I just want to quickly get out some facts, if I may.
Sure.
A lot of people out there think I'm nuts, but
yes, we do.
I know for a fact I'm right, and 90% of the who's who of the media knows I'm right, and the FBI knows I'm right. So why are 90% of people thinking I'm nuts? Well, there's a few reasons. Here's why. I saw the 60s assassinations. I was 10, 12, 15 years old when those happened. I knew something was wrong with this country then. I had a very high IQ. Very high SAT. I read all of Sherlock Holmes in high school. I learned how to run a string all the way to the end of it. I wanted to be a celebrity golfer, not just a regular working bee. So I was going to change the world with a peace sign on my visor. So I was very hurt when John Lennon got shot. When he did get shot, I knew it was a conspiracy, and since there was no trial, I just couldn't handle the society I was living with that was that phony. So I took off on a bicycle and lived outdoors in San Diego for over a year and a half, doing nothing but listening to the Beatles on my Sony Walkman and singing along for a year, riding my bike, which got me the courage to go to my library to see what the heck's going on here with no trial. Okay, and also I had no television for 5 years during that time. I was not poisoned by the brainwash campaign with Chapman. Okay, now, these are the reasons I can see all this evidence so clearly, and the people who think I'm nuts cannot. But then again, over the weekend here, ruminating what kind of slogan I got to come up with, I've come to the understanding that we are hardwired to be weaklings. We are hardwired to put our head in the sand. We are hardwired to tuck tail and run. just like the lion and the cowardly lion and the wizard.
Stephen, maybe we just don't believe the same thing you believe, and maybe we wish for you that you realize that even if you were right, you need to get on with a life so that we're not your only family.
Oh, this is Billy. Okay. Billy,
yeah, buddy.
Let me interrupt. Okay, now let me finish what I was going to say because I was hitting the nub. Just as you interrupted, I was hitting the nub. People tell me all the time, well, they caught him right on the spot. He admitted to it. A guy said this to me at the gas station yesterday. I walked back to him and I said this. You only said that because that's your knee-jerk, sinful reaction to the dilemma of you having to challenge your government for what they did. And you'd rather come up with some lame excuse, the media told me, than pull your head out of the sand and admit you never even saw a trial for anybody in the first place. Now, what I'm trying to say is this. People, you are hardwired. You are, in a sense, damned by God, the way you were created, not to stick your chest out, not to stick your head up and scream the truth. You were hardwired to tuck your tail, put your head in the sand, and call the hero a wacko.
You know what I want to do? I want to go down the street with a half-drunk bottle of whiskey in my hand, just yelling at everybody, I'm just following the science!
Anyway,
like a trench
I'm
coat,
very appreciative.
Go down the street, bang on doors. I'm just following the signs.
But don't forget your mask, John T.
Stephen King has a message for all of us for New Year's. You know what it is?
What?
He appreciates all of your apathy.
Well, sometimes apathy is better than fighting a war you can't win. Even if you're right, it's time for you to give it up.
I'm not going to give up. I'm going to win. I'm going to be the dominant force, and I'm replace Stephen King any day now.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Was that a kind thing to say, Billy?
What?
I'm sorry?
No, it's a very kind thing to say. I worry about Stephen. I want for him what, we all have, which is a not so angry, upset life. He's upset all the time because of this great... Look, everybody's horrified about what happened to John Lennon. We love John Lennon.
Billy, what you don't understand is this. You're dripping wet with Stephen King's urine, and you don't even know it.
Oh, I thought it was raining.
Wow.
Everybody better listen up, man. I already warned you about the asteroid, and 2 weeks after I warned you, you got hit with COVID-19. When will you wake up?
Wow.
Are you begging for an asteroid?
Now,
people?
No, you shouldn't wish that on us.
Not that I think I can do this, but if I could get Stephen King on the Saturday special for a debate with you.
I'll bet you $1,000 he will not deny it.
Jeez.
Right now.
He won't deny it.
$1,000. I bet you $1,000 he will not deny it on the radio. I'll bet you.
Hasn't he denied it with you?
Never, ever, never, ever.
What am I thinking of?
Now that's a pretty bold bet. $1,000. He will not publicly deny that he killed John Lennon.
Directly or psychologically?
that he pulled the trigger.
Oh.
He's proud of it. He's a Jewish communist agent for the enemy of America. He's poisoning us like a rabid bat.
Do you have a problem with
There
Jews?
was a very intelligent conversation happening earlier, and this is like a rabbit hole. We're just diving down.
Well,
one little
all right. If that's the case, then I just want to read this email. Voter ID Saturday special. Dear NZ, people like Billy Sunshine are always making excuses for not having voter ID. I couldn't even obtain a library card in San Francisco without an ID. Let's stop the BS and have voter ID. And that's from Vincent Pacific Grove, sent from his iPhone. There. How do you feel about that?
I'm good with that.
Okay.
We should have a really good election.
Okay, Steve. We're at the limit.
You were very generous today, and I really appreciate. A lot of profound things were said, and I appreciate the chance.
Okay.
Take care of yourself, Steve.
You have a good one. Happy New Year.
I'm doing fine. I'm worried about the rest of you.
Oh, right.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. Okay, there goes Steve Lightfoot, and here comes Rory in Watsonville, with kudos to the CCP.
Did it?
Oh, I thought he was already on. Sorry. Yeah.
Hey,
you have kudos to the CCP, right?
No. Kudos to China overall.
To CUA. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, and to Hades with the CCP. That's a great show. I mean, the China overall. I was listening to that when it first came out and learning so much, and then I connected. I think I told you I connected to Bannon's podcast.
Yes.
War Room Pandemic. And
I checked that out, and he still hasn't been deplatformed. Last time I checked, anyhow.
Yeah, and they translate that show into Mandarin, and it gets around the CCP firewall.
Is somebody taking a leak right now?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Are you urinating?
No.
Well,
I'm
what's
in my
that
truck.
noise?
That'd be difficult.
Oh, it could be coming from the Futures or Billy Sunshine or Jaunty,
Billy, what
for
are you
that
doing?
matter.
Anything's coming from us.
Okay, Billy?
What is
coffee.
Billy up to?
I was pouring coffee.
Oh, okay.
Oh. little Irish cream. Hey, yeah, so it was interesting listening to Jaunty because months ago I said, with this virus, and it's real, we got that, and it's mostly older people and we know people are sickly. They got to be careful. But this whole thing of closing all these businesses when all the big box stores stay open, what's with that? It makes no sense. And so I came to the conclusion that it's a bunch of nervous Nelly baby boomers that are afraid to die, and they're willing to crush the young people coming up to give them some kind of false security about not dying. And I can say that because I am a baby boomer, and I reject that. Go ahead, Johnson.
No, I mean that's the you articulated the thing that I was not quite willing to say, which is that there's a generation here which will not take an extremely small risk in order to provide for everyone else, and then we have a power structure wherein the Waltons, the folks that own Walmart, and Jeff Bezos et al. Are quite happy to destroy small businesses left and right in order to enrich themselves to the point of just being bizarro land wealth, goofy
it's got to
wealth.
It's got to stop. Yeah, we got to put an end to it. It's total selfishness. And the thing is, you look at Walmart, they mocked Senator Josh Hawley the other day. Somebody on their Twitter account, they blamed it on some flunky, some Grandoon, as Bannon would say. But they mocked Hawley, saying, "Oh, enjoy your 2 minutes of fame, sore loser." Hashtag sore loser. These guys have 1,000 stores in China, mainland China. Walmart does. 5% of their business is mainland China. 20% of their junk.
Well, all of their products are from
not all,
China.
but 20%. A solid 20% of the stuff they market is Chinese, and it's inferior. So here it is. You've got deplorable Trump voters shopping at Walmart to fund the attack on the president and different senators or whoever would stand up to him. We've got to put an end to this. And our battle is not left versus right so much, and it is, in my opinion, and I would argue with Billy to the death over it, but our battle is the United States, free citizens, free states, versus the globalists with the face of the CCP. And, we all talk about, they've got a social credit score system in Red China, operational. Well, we've got it here. It's called Facebook, Twitter, Google. It's already started, and they will shut you down. So
the United States creates this sort of a place where international corporations can grow and thrive. We're like an incubator for creating these corporations. But these corporations are unpatriotic, and
Very
that's
much
where a lack of governance. People accuse China of mercantilism, which is fine. I wish we had some fleeting mercantilism here. I mean, please make Google and Facebook and Amazon act in the best interest of our economy and our society. Please. That would be fantastic.
We wish. Well, look at the NBA. It's a $8 billion a year business. Nike is a $40 billion a year business. Guess where all their sponsorship money comes from? Where do they make all their shoes? In communist China with slave labor. We've got to reverse this thing, or we're going to lose our independence. And so, with that, I think we fight.
What's her name? Lorraine Powell. I think that's her name. She owns the Atlantic, the left-wing newspaper. Yeah. She was married to Steve Jobs, and she has a whole bunch of stock in Disney. She's owns the Atlantic, and the Atlantic is telling us all about how we should be and what we should think at all. The Atlantic is definitely telling us that the horribly abused poor African American folks in the United States that's like the biggest problem in the world. While, mind you, Apple is literally using slave labor in China. Slave labor in China today to make the bleaching crap that we're buying. So there's something extremely contradictory here. There's something that's not just hypocrisy. If you aren't aware of this, boy.
Yeah, come up to speed. Jonty, what's your email? Because I want to send you the Pandemic War Room link. It's a podcast.
I'd be happy to connect, my friend. JC@ksco.com.
JC@ksco.com.
Oh, that's easy. Well, anyway, all the best to you all in the new year, and we will get through this, but we must fight. And I hate Futures. You guys are the best. Pump the vitamins, everybody. We had the corona. I don't know if I've said it a couple times on KSCO. It was very mild, thank God, but I'm taking 80 milligrams a day of zinc, and I'm getting my bioflavonoids through fresh fruits and vegetables, some supplements, maybe a little
D. Lots of vitamin D.
We got to move on, gang. Okay, here's Zoltan. Thank you, Rory. Here's Zoltan with the gang. Hi, Zoltan.
Hello, everybody. Happy New Year's to everybody. Okay, one of the ideas is to extend the exposure of the China Über Alles program. Is put all of it or part of the program on the YouTube and just load it up. Okay, just like the
We've been doing that, haven't we, Jonty? And we have 6 views, right?
Well,
okay. Now when somebody's looking for something, also the keywords, also put in some of these good ones like Fox or NTD. So when somebody's looking for some of those, so they could find you. Okay. But also another thing is, but if you put the word fraud, like election fraud, they actually beep you out. Okay, so you're being.
So we better not do that.
Well, okay, just instead of election fraud, just say that discrepancy in voting or some other words, some BS words. Okay, it means the same
Zoltan,
thing. But
if I could, just for a brief second, let me just say that there's a search engine called DuckDuckGo.
Yeah, I know.
So what you do is you go to Google and you do a search, and then in another tab you go to DuckDuckGo and you do a search, and you compare the results, and you see very quickly and very clearly that Google is manipulating the results in order to get you to think a certain way, especially with regards to politics.
Yeah, I know that because some of the information is how many viewers were on that page. And how many liked it, how many not. Some of those numbers are totally ridiculous, okay? Yeah. And the other thing I wanted to say when it comes Tuesday, January 6th, okay, I'm very glad we have at least 140 Republicans in the Congress who's going to object the election, and hope they're going to be screaming loud and clear that this is a fraudulent election in Arizona, in Pennsylvania,
and what if that happens? What if that happens, Zoltan?
Well, just keep screaming, okay? And Pence can actually just pull the trigger. You know, we're not gonna certify the election, okay? And Trump can actually bring up this Insurrection Act, which he wrote an executive order a couple of years ago, because this is fraud. This is like if a foreign country is taking over our country here. It's like a velvet revolution, okay? It's a slow motion takeover through massive brainwashing. They infiltrated our schools and universities. Okay, they've been stealing our intellectual property for at least 35 years or more. So all these things, it's a slow motion attack against the capitalist system with the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, because they knew that sooner or later, and this is even Khrushchev said it, and Brezhnev way back in communist Russian system, is that you cannot really take over the capitalist system because they were very envious. They all been attacking us, but slowly but surely they can infiltrate our education system, the Hollywood and so on, by brainwashing people. Will eventually just going to vote for it, and without shooting a bullet, okay, they can take over. So that's where we are, right? And this virus here, what we have, is nothing more than the Agenda 21 and the New World Order. They're trying to change everything over, okay, through the scaremongering virus. In the communist system, they did the same thing. The scaremongering was the Russian troops. So they're going to come, okay? They crushed the revolution, crushed the freedom. So instead of Russia, no, we have, the virus. It's like a rubber virus.
So, Zoltan, thank you. But we have to, we got one more caller and only 1 minute, so we got to take Shirley. Thank you, Zoltan. Here's Shirley in Santa Cruz. You're on.
They ask why they're going after all the free enterprise, and that's exactly the reason. I figured out just a month ago. They want to destroy the free Americans. They want everybody dependent on the government. Half the people in the U.S. are in the government, and over half of our industry is small businesses.
Well, that makes sense. You got to admit.
Yeah, that just dawned on me clear as a bell, and I don't know why everybody hasn't been talking about that, because they're trying to destroy mainstream America, good Americans, and they're keeping all the lazy government workers and all the politicians and the teachers. I used to be a teacher. I'm disgusted with them. Anyway, and what Zoltan was just saying, a lot of that, the education systems. My kids are 35 and 41, and I thought they were brainwashed at the university. No, since Canada, here in Santa Cruz County. Excuse me, not since Canada, since kindergarten. Yeah, they just totally have destroyed the kids. They brainwashed them. They think black is white. I read history books.
They
20
sure
years
have. At least we got you on. I'm sorry it's the end of the show, but thank you for calling.
I turned it off when Billy came on, and I didn't turn it back.
Okay, but people should listen to all points of view. Anyhow, that's it, gang.
I do it.
Thank you for tuning in to your favorite show.
That's all, folks.
KSCO, Santa Cruz, Salinas, Monterey, San Jose. It is